Brothers and sisters in labor, my fellow pilots, thank you and good morning. It continues to be an honor and a privilege to serve as your first Vice President and National Safety Coordinator. Now, this summer has been really intense. It never seems to let up. So I want to jump right into updating you on the outstanding work being done by the Air Safety Organization in the areas of safety, security, pilot assistance, and of course now Jumpseats, which was taken out of the security realm and given their own right within the Air Safety Organization. So thank you to the folks in this room that helped make that happen. As well as touch on the continued growth of ALPA. Now, I'm proud to coordinate and direct the efforts of more than 420 safety representatives who are the heart and soul of the Air Safety Organization. And I know most of my chairmen are flying here today. We have a few folks that are helping out with delegate committee. Are there any ASO folks out there in the audience here today, leadership-wise? Can you raise a hand? Wolfgang Capt, could you stand up for just a second? Folks, all kind of along the back there, these folks are in the trenches every single day, working with industry, sitting across from the regulators, doing an incredible job. So, gentlemen and ladies, on the behalf of all the leadership in this room and the 60,000 pilots we represent, thank you very much for your service. Appreciate it very much. Also, another person I notice is in the room here today has done ALPA work tirelessly for many years, was part of a negotiating team when I was MEC chairman, and he did something so extraordinary this past week that I think it just deserves recognition. As you all know, I am trying to stay current as I stay in this job, as well as Tim. He sat in my right seat and for support during my simulator this past week. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Archimusi over there, right back there. Well, Mike, thank you very much. I never heard the word "go around" as many times as I heard when I was sitting there with Mike. So, but anyway, hope FedEx is not watching this. So, our ASO folks, whether meeting with local airport officials, preventing before a regulatory agency, or working with decision makers on Capitol or Parliament Hills, every volunteer in the ASO is a shining example of our association's credibility, expertise, and a continuing tradition that extends over 87 years now, 87 years. They reinforce our union's role as the conscience of the airline industry, because when we speak to government and industry leaders about our concerns and our ideas, our voice is heard loud and clear. Now, bar none, we are, without a doubt, the best, you know that, at what we do. And our members should always be reminded of that, because we are the ones out there every day and every night flying the line and ensuring the safety of our passengers and the cargo entrusted to our care. Now, credibility and expertise to which I speak is showcased with the premier aviation safety event that we hold each year. How many people, the Air Safety Forum, how many people went this year? Did anybody go? Good, right? Every time I have a pilot that goes, he's different when he leaves. He has a different kind of concept and perception of what his union does. He sees the ASO and the folks working on our pilot's behalf interacting at the highest levels with regulators and government. It's really something to see. So this took place just a couple weeks ago. Near record crowds, sold out 2 hotels, I believe, this year, as well as government and industry stakeholders from both the United States and Canada, who meet to discuss how to advance aviation safety and launch new initiatives. We heard from top leaders like Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration Administrator Howard Skip Elliott, Acting FAA Administrator Dan Elwell, National Air Traffic Controllers Association President Paul Rinaldi, Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania, and one that took down the House, I tell you, it was really something to behold, was Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois. I mean, standing ovation, multiple standing ovations for her, all of whom are allies and advocates for our profession. We also led and rallied the opposition to single pilot and remote pilot operations that Captain Knoll mentioned that were proposed in Section 744. And furthermore, the association honored those pilots, this is the most important thing we do, who committed their life work to advancing safety, security, pilot assistance, and jump seats on behalf of our profession, as well as those who have demonstrated superior airmanship. Each time at the end of the Air Safety Forum, the last event culminates in a really fantastic banquet. And typically not a dry eye in a house when you hear some of the stories of the dedication and service of some of these individuals. Now, our ongoing safety efforts, led by Captain Steve Jangelis, have been very active as late. In collaboration with PHMSA, the Pipeline Hazardous Materials Safety Administration I just mentioned, our dangerous goods experts were instrumental in the development of a new program called Check the Box campaign to educate and inform shippers. Now, I got to tell you, when Captain Knoll and I approached PHMSA about the concern about undeclared hazardous material, I'm telling you, we were really pretty amazed at the quick response that we got. In fact, I remember Skip came and was one of our keynote speakers at the Air Safety Forum. I remember commenting that I wasn't typically used to a regulator actually really doing something so quickly. And so we were very, very pleased and looking forward to further collaboration on other issues. So very positive, very auspicious start in that regard. So the Check the Box campaign, like I said, is designed to educate and inform the public, both commercial and general public, on the risks associated with undeclared transportation of hazardous materials, such as lithium batteries. Featuring they even have a character. You know, like you see all these pharmaceutical commercials with the little characters and everything. There's one, they created a character. They must have gone to a public PR firm because it's really fat. His name is Hazmat, and he's a little guy, and he's got flaming hair, so it looks like he's on fire. It was really quite creative. So the campaign is a clear step to make shippers aware and our skies safer. We can honestly say, as safe as our skies are now, and we are the safest form of transportation known to man through our commercial air safety team efforts and the data collection, robust data collection efforts that we have. I mean, it really is incredible how far we've come. And this can honestly be said that this will make aviation even safer than that. But the sky is no longer the limit when it comes to the association's influence. No. As you are aware, the commercial space industry is expanding rapidly and impacting our national airspace system. The Air Safety Forum featured a panel discussion with several key stakeholders in the sector. I was part of that panel, and Lori Garver, our general manager, as you know, who has a pretty deep, I would say, a pretty deep background in commercial space, she moderated the panel, and we had the FAA, Virgin Galactic, SpaceX, and of course, us at ALPA. We are the voice. We are the voice that's facilitating that dialogue. I mean, that's in our DNA, right? We build unity. That's what we do. We bring our safety expertise and experience to this new frontier. I just wanted to say that for the Star Trekkies out there. In industry meetings to ensure that the chief users of the airspace, airline pilots, us, have a voice and are heard as issues and arise affecting how our pilots do business now and in the future. I'm very excited about this. This is definitely a new frontier for our ALPA right now, and it's you know, it's not like UAS where they're a new entrant, you know, drones, where they're a new entrant into the system. You know, commercial space has been around for quite some time, but the technology is advancing so rapidly now that it's becoming a point where there's impacting the airspace. And so when that happens, ALPA gets involved. So that commercial air safety team, GMDAT I just mentioned to you, commercial air safety team, FAA group, right? Industry and FAA and labor. The GMDAT is the Joint Implementation Measurement Data Analysis Team, say that fast, 3 times fast. They have a cargo working group. And they've been busy meeting to compare and contrast the risk and operational differences between cargo and passenger operations. You've heard me before in the speeches, dramatic risk difference when you look at the two ends of the industry. It is finishing up work. It's worked pretty well. We got Rich Huey from FedEx, who's spearheading that whole lift, and with Preston Green, also from FedEx. And it's primed to present its findings on the risk differences between passengers and cargo towards the end of the calendar year, so we're looking forward to that. However, as our industry grows outward and upward, we must remember that the most important safety feature in our aircraft, you know, pilots, right? In late May, the ASO hosted a one-day symposium called Train for Life, a human-centered approach to safety. There, pilots, industry stakeholders, and government regulators who share our goal of having the safest and most secure air transportation system discussed proactive and, more importantly, predictive ways to improve the system based on human factors. So let's switch over to Wolfgang's line of work, talk about security for a moment. Our association's work under the leadership of Captain Wolfgang Koch marches on. The known crew member and pre-check programs were nominated earlier this year for the 2017 Collier Trophy, the first security programs to ever receive such distinctions. And that while we were ultimately not selected for the trophy, the nomination alone is a valuable testament to the groundbreaking importance of these risk-based programs to flight crews and the flying public. We are the recipients of 3 Collier trophies that would have made 4. I don't agree with their pick. I think when you look at what the efficiencies that are gained through KCM, hands down, we should have won that one. But, you know, we've won a lot of them, so. KCM, who doesn't like KCM? I use it all the time. I'm sure you do as well. Continues to expand. At last count, there were 225 points at 90 airports, with more sites being identified and implemented. On a typical week, more than 60,000 pilots and flight attendants access KCM, saving them valuable time and hassles while directing resources where they're needed the most, to those who they don't know. So we just passed, as Captain Knoll mentioned before, we mentioned the huge milestone in KCM. We had the 100 millionth expedited security screening of a crew member that occurred on or about September 1st, and we commemorated that with a press release issued jointly by our KCM partners, A4A and TSA. Let's not forget now the Federal Flight Deck Officer Program, which also continues to grow and improve. And we continue to monitor the threats to this vital and cost-effective program that we know provides the last defense for our cockpits. But the security team is not resting on its laurels. In light of several high-profile events, our team of pilot volunteers is developing guidance on handling unruly passengers. I'm sure many of you have had that experience now, and it seems to be I'm not sure what it's a collection of. I just think as we pack more and more airplanes into smaller airplanes, and by the time they come through security and experience the security screening, they're not typically in the best moods, coupled with what seems to be a lack of civility in our society lately. It's a serious program, and once again, whenever we see these issues, we step forward in ALPA, and we don't wait. We're proactive. We go after it. And that's what we're doing. So we're involved in discussions to develop a new Street Smarts video. I don't know if you've ever seen some of the very valuable information on those, on what to do in an airport active shooter scenario. Remember what happened in Fort Lauderdale, so we learned a lot of lessons there. Now, talk about something near and dear to my heart in the realm of pilot assistance. Our pilot volunteers, led by United First Officer John Taylor, continue their invaluable work that is truly, truly at the personal core of this union, helping fellow aviators who may be struggling privately or professionally. Now, you know we have really robust pilot assistance programs. We're known for that. You know, when the Germanwings accident happened, got assigned, Tim had me assigned to the Pilot Fitness Aviation Rulemaking Committee, and ALPA was recognized for having very robust programs. But what we needed to complete that circle, to make it even better than it already was, all of those pilot assistance programs deal with work-related stresses. We needed something, a safe pathway for pilots to be able to come forward when they deal with normal life stresses, right? I mean, just like the aircraft we fly, human beings can be pushed beyond their design limitations sometimes. And we wanted to create something that was available. And now we will have 24/7 in November. We've already started the training, as I'll talk about in a second. But 24/7, any pilot will have access to a trained pilot peer support volunteer 24/7, regardless of the size of your MEC. And I know some of the MECs already have these programs that are way out. Canada, like I'll mention here in a bit, you know, they saw the need for this a long, long time ago. But Delta Pan, FedEx Path, United Soar, way out ahead. But they're big organizations and groups, and they can afford to do that. Some of the smaller MECs can't. So now every ALPA pilot will have that available to them. So something to think about as you well, get on with this. But the new U.S. Pilot Assistance Program is the Pilot Peer Support Program. And this is something I'm truly excited about, as you can tell. As you know, I believe that what we do here in this union, helping fellow pilots, is the real true purpose of this union, and perhaps the highest calling that we have. You know, we circle the wagons when you could judge an organization by the way it comes to its members in need, and we definitely do circle the wagon. This provides support to our members who are dealing with issues in their personal lives that could affect their professional performance. Administered by the Aeromedical Group, the Pilot Peer Support, or PPS program, was reviewed by a group of mental health professionals and aeromedical doctors and is the result of literally hundreds of hours of research and dedications by pilot and staff. And I'm proud to have overseen the launch of this new initiative, which took place at the Air Safety Forum. So the first class of 27 volunteers was trained on one of the days over a 2-day period in the Air Safety Forum. In addition to serving these individuals who were trained, so in addition to serving their own individual MECs, 18 of those individuals have volunteered to be part of the national network. I'm very excited about that. And like I said, that support line will be up and running by November, now that we've got the cadre trained. So of noteworthy mention, like I said, I believe that Canada, in many ways, and I think I was a little reluctant to actually really kind of pick up on that when we first started this, but they've had a very effective pilot peer support program of their own style, kind of structured differently for quite some time. So I think they deserve noteworthy mention for that. Now, our next PPS initial course will be hosted by the Frontier MEC, and I think considering everything that's going on there at Frontier, it's probably a good thing, and it's scheduled for November 6th through November 8th. So support them in every way I can. Now, over to Jumpseats here for a minute. The Jumpseat group, led by FedEx Captain Rich Odbert, which is tasked with defending pilot and command authority over flight deck access, has truly been hard at work since becoming the ASO's fourth pillar. During the Air Safety Forum, they released a video on proper jumpseat etiquette. Anybody see that? It's posted on our website as well. It has been viewed over 30,000 times in a 2-week period when it first came out, and continues to grow. So it's really effective, and I think every member should encourage, or leadership to encourage your membership to take a look at that. Their work is of the utmost importance to our members, and I'm gratified to see that their hard work is now getting the attention that it deserves in this individual cylinder that I just mentioned. And finally, okay, in my role as ALPA's Political Action Committee Treasurer, ALPA PAC, it continues to stand strong and support elected officials who protect professional pilots. From January 2017 through July of 2018, ALPA PAC has raised more than $3.6 million for more than 12,000 ALPA members. And we're on track for another record-setting year. Folks, I have a whole different opinion of ALPA PAC now when I took office. This is really, truly effective stuff. The price of a cup of coffee a day. If it isn't in terms of total dollars, think in terms of participation. It means a lot when we go on Capitol Hill to fight, and Captain Knoll goes up there to fight these battles, for them to know that we have a large amount of support behind us. So think about that if you would. And you'll be getting, I believe you'll be getting a PAC update during plenary this year, so we'll get more information here shortly. And in the midterm election cycle, the PAC has dispersed more than $3.1 million in pilot partisan contributions to Republicans and Democrats, liberals and conservatives. Yes, I'm looking at you, Mike. Let me repeat that, okay? Our PAC gives to Republicans and Democrats. I don't believe I still have to say that so often, but I do, because if people have misunderstandings about what we do. We're not a one-party PAC. We are a pilot partisan PAC. In fact, we were the most bipartisan labor PAC in the country the last cycle. And our outreach to all sides of the political spectrum gives us an edge over those who oppose us, as the relationships that we've built allows us to access places and be part of conversations we wouldn't otherwise be able to do, and certainly others can't do. So please, I think I've made it pretty clear right now, continue to encourage your pilots to contribute to the PAC, because it does pay off. Okay, we didn't make the rules, we just have to play by them. So, in closing, I am humbled by what I see daily from our pilots and staff. Their expertise, their experience, their enthusiasm fuels our advocacy efforts and adds strength to our resolve and gives voice to our commitment to a safe and secure air transportation now and in the future. We've made immense progress, but the work is far from over. We're always looking for new ideas and fresh energy to add to our arsenal. So please, if you know a pilot who shares this passion for safety, security, pilot assistance, or jump seat issues, recruit them, Send them my way. Thank you, Todd, for sending me a good one here recently on UAS. I appreciate that. He's in the room. Where is he? I know he's in here somewhere. I saw him before. But I'm serious about that. We're constantly recruiting, sometimes, too, with the amount of flow that's going on. We train people. They leave us. Hopefully, I get them back after probation if they've come to an ALPA carrier. But even though our industry and the airline piloting profession are currently experiencing relatively favorable conditions and blue skies, we must be prepared for the challenges that loom on the horizon. ALPA has always done that. So just like the aircraft that we fly, the nature of our work doesn't allow for complacency. We must remain ever vigilant, watching for threats, understanding and managing risks, taking advantage of opportunities, and advocating on behalf of the entire airline industry. We must never forget that as we welcome the next generation of airline pilots to our ranks, we're also influencing our next generation of union leaders and future safety representatives, and we'll hear more about that from Captain Capt next. That concludes my remarks for this morning. I appreciate your attention, and thank you, and please continue to fly safely. Thanks, everybody.